Hey guys, I just have to take a quick little break. Um, yes. So let us get into your reading. I definitely feel like uh, there was, I don't know, a piece of information, I guess, or something that you guys were given that may try to lead you astray. Interesting. Okay, one sec. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Lord, for all that you do for us here on this earth. What messages do you have for the collective to help guide them on their path in this moment that is in their highest good and in the presence of love? In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Manifesting. Okay. So the Ten of Pentacles almost flipped. The Temperance came out. Thank you. Eight of Swords. That's all in the future. Thank you. Two of Cups and the Ace of Cups on the bottom. Three of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles, Two of Wands, the Strength card, Three of Cups, uh, Queen of Pentacles, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, and the Emperor, Aries. Wow. There's some deep Taurus energy here as well. Capricorn, Sagittarius, Leo, Gemini, Aquarius, Gemini. Um, I heard like there's some deeply seated wounds within the collective that you're trying to understand and that you're trying to grow from. And so, what we just explained at the beginning there, we're doing some teachings around, inner child healing and that kind of thing, like really high level understandings of what's going on. Of course, it gets a lot more complex depending on the nature of your experience and your former experience and that kind of thing. And it's important to take note that again, this is not a therapeutic session. This is not counseling. This is not meant for entertainment purposes only. This is not meant for you to use this as a substitute for therapy and counseling. If you do need therapy and counseling, please reach out to your local mental health facilities and clinics. And if you're in an emergency, 911, please take care of yourselves. Really important to take note that when you are doing this healing work, it's a very delicate process. It's a very sacred process, and it's not something to play around with. It's not something to toy with, and it's something to take like there's brevity with it, right? And I feel like there's um almost like an internal alarm system is going off for some of you guys on like what's what and who's who and what's been and that kind of thing. And really important that you're gentle with yourself as you are transmuting this energy, as you're integrating and learning and understanding yourself, through this process. Be really kind. Be really, really kind and gentle with yourself because you've been through a lot, and through this journey of understanding self, you're cultivating an enormous amount contiguous. I don't know if that's the right word. Let's see. Copious, that's the word. I don't know what contiguous means. What did I just say? But you are gaining copious amounts of wisdom right now. Contiguous? I don't even know that's a word. It's not a word. I just made up a word today. And it's really important to seek guidance and wisdom when appropriate. Of course, if you feel like you are struggling processing emotions, mental state and that kind of thing, I highly recommend that you reach out to a therapist. Um, I am one. If you resonate with my vibe and my style, my approach, highly recommend you book in a consultation with me. If not, no worries. I know a bunch of other people too that I can refer you out to if you so see fit. But my style is very much like psychoeducation, because again, it's like it's my approach to empower my clients with as much information and knowledge about where they're at as possible, so they can understand as we are going through the therapeutic journey, the healing journey together. They know what's going on, they know what's happening, and some of the important factors to include so they can support themselves, be empowered to support themselves and sustain themselves ongoing after the therapeutic relationship has ended, right? To resource them with tools and knowledge to support themselves and others. And I take that approach with obviously all areas. So, but you are receiving some spiritual enlightenment. I feel like there's a sense of groundedness or grounding that does need to happen. You might be easily distracted at this time. 8-8 again is very significant. 6-6 is also significant. 4-4 is significant. 4-5-6 I'm seeing as well. Oh, 4-4-4. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Archangel Michael, for being here. And Archangel Raphael and Archangel Gabriel. Very Archangel Raphael is definitely here to help to support in your healing journey. Now, I'm hearing the roses are red. The roses are red. That's significant for someone. It's important to take note that when you are healing and when you are learning, on the spiritual journey, spiritual path, all that jazz, that you don't sugarcoat things to make it more palpable for yourself, right? I think honesty is the always the best policy. And it's always the approach that I personally value, but also professionally. There's ways to be honest, but there's, I think, being very direct. And when we're looking at ourselves and doing this sort of inner work, that we are honest, honest about the things that scare us, honest about how we're feeling, honest about the needs that we hold as human beings, honest about, who we are and like our behaviors and like, and get curious about it, right? Like if you are if you're holding or harboring lots of like resentment or um, self-deprecation, or if you're extremely hard on yourself, it's because there's a lot of shame and a lot of guilt associated with whatever is going on, and you may not have received compassion before, or you had not learned how to be compassionate with self, and that can take time. That's definitely a process in itself to be able to apply that type of medicine to our wounds as we are healing. Self-compassion helps to alleviate that shame and that guilt. Of course there's work to be done around the guilt and shame, but that's often one of the biggest barriers to being honest with ourselves is that guilt and shame piece. And our ego is doing what it is intended to do, which is to protect ourselves from immense amount of pain. However, our ego has a very specific purpose. We're not meant to be run by our ego. We are meant to be the one in charge, not our ego, right? And that takes time. That's a process in itself too. So it depends on sort of what level, what stage you're at. But this is gorgeous. This is beautiful. Like, this is amazing. You are breaking free from really, really, I don't know what that word contemptuous. That's not a word. It's not a word. I don't know. It's not a word. I don't know. But you're breaking free from a lot of things, a lot of cycles, from the drama. as well. Something about staging. Something about staging is really important. It's prominent. Someone might be staging something or faking a death or something like that. There's some sort of defining factor, something about pennies or like a penny, something penny. Um, Name could be Penny, you know, a penny, a reference to Penny. Something about describing describable outcomes. And then photosynthesis is also really significant. Photobombs is also significant. To ascertain something is also significant. And something about a symposium is also significant. I'm seeing like a cathedral of some kind, Saint Joseph Cathedral. And then I'm seeing A as like Ainsley, um, Acerine, yeah, ascertain, to ascertain. Is so ascertain is to discover, find out, or learn something with certainty, typically through deliberate effort, investigation, or analysis. It implies making sure of facts when there is previously ignorance, doubt, or uncertainty by Merriam-Webster. Awesome. So yes, that's been yeah, like, you know, academically, professionally to investigate context rather than casual conversations. So I feel like there's that sense of urgency, or there's like an urge for you to learn more and to get sort of into the nooks and crannies of a situation. Um, Again, if you feel like you're being led by the Holy Spirit to do that, absolutely do that. And there's also like really important nudges from the divine that you are going to be experiencing here. You are guided and protected by angels. For some of you, you may be receiving like direct insight from the angelic kingdom. That's so beautiful. And again, you know, practicing that attitude of gratitude for the people, places, and things that have helped to support you, but also for God and the angelic kingdom as well. um, you know, what they do for us in the spiritual realm on this side, for us to be able to maintain ourselves and integrity, and to help us see things clearly, and to help us, you know, to do the work and to help guide us. And, you know, like as we are learning and growing, please know that we're not alone in this, right? When we're learning these lessons, we're completing these cycles, we're not alone in this. We were never meant to be alone in this, and we're meant to be leaning on God and the Most High, right? Jesus and the Holy Spirit and our angels and our spirit team, which is why I'm here to help deliver their messages. Because as we lean on them, we realize that one, we're not alone. Two, that we don't have to do this by ourselves. And that three, that there is, yes, a higher power. There is a God who loves us very dearly. And he shows us how much he loves us every single day. um, Whether or not we are open to receiving that love, or whether or not we're open to seeing the miracles and seeing the blessings on a day-to-day basis. For some of you, there's some self-doubt that's kind of creeping in here. I do see you being very successful here in the past. It could be something to do with work, but I feel like you're second guessing something, and it's attributed to your abundance. It could be a little bit of like a self-worth thing. Oh yeah, thank you, Spirit. There was a little bit of like sort of an insecurity that I was tapping into um, as I was preparing to get ready for your reading. And when I'm doing the preparation before the reading, the intention has already been set, right? The intention has already been set. So most of the time, I start already tapping into the energy before I fully connect. And there's definitely some doubt and insecurity that I was tapping into, or that I was sensing. And it's not like detrimental. Like I don't feel like, I mean, it could be if you allow it to be, which is why we're bringing it up, right? That's why they're bringing it up, um, to bring awareness to this for you, because if this sort of self doubt, self sabotagey energy is not put in check, it could potentially alter, the path that you're on or the paradigm that you're in a negative way. So we're bringing it up for you to gain awareness on, right? For you to gain awareness on with the sun card. And to let go, learn what the self-doubt is teaching you, and learning to let go from that. I feel like for some of you, you aren't talking to people about this situation, or you don't talk to people about this sense of self-doubt, because I think there's like an air of like there's brevity with it, sure, yeah. But I feel like there's also some it could be ego. Again, ego is not bad. Again, right? Like let's dismantle this idea that ego is means bad. The only time that ego can be bad is when we define it as bad. But once we learn to undefine things and redefine things, you're allowed to do that, by the way. You can determine if ego is bad or not, right? It's if you can kind of shift it from the sense of being bad or good to, is this empowering me or disempowering me, right? Of course, if people are operating 110% solely from ego and not from God, not from spirit, not from their truest authentic selves, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the clock. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Spirit. Then the outcome and the fruits of that person is not going to be very godly, right? Because of the spirit that they're operating from. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people out there who operating from ego, but I believe that there's more and more people who are waking up to understanding about the ego and what its true purpose is in our healing and in our ascension, in our growth, in our evolution, or spiritual evolution, conscious evolution. That reminds me, yeah, if you guys want to go check out another reader, she was so pivotal in my spiritual healing, one of many um, teachers, if you will. Consciousness Evolution. I'm pretty sure that's what her YouTube channel is called. I don't know if she still has it or not. I haven't checked her out, but yeah, go check it out. Check her out if you want. I think her daughter also has a channel, but I've resonated more with her stuff, conscious evolution. Excuse me, but yeah, there's something about a rat tail. Okay. Rat-a-tat, 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 rat-a-tat. Mm. Something about clear as day. You're seeing something clear as day now. Good, great, that's amazing. I'm so glad. Um, yeah, because like one, when it comes to insecurity and comes to doubt and stuff like that, right? Like we all have insecurities. It's a part of our growth. It's a part of our opportunity to welcome change and like welcome new lifestyles and that kind of thing. Um, and it's really important to take note that as you are embarking on your healing journey, there's the tent of pentacles, tent of pentacles, the tentacles, ten of tentacles, ten of pentacles. Um, yeah, as you are embarking on this journey, you get to determine like what your life looks like and the trajectory that you are moving from. And when it comes to redefining who you are in this very pivotal time, you're also redefining like your relationships, your family, your work, how you operate. You're operating from a higher level of consciousness now and a deeper level of understanding because you've done the work. And as you are letting go and detaching from the old version of you, your heart becomes more clear, your mind becomes more clear, your spirit and your aura becomes more clear, and you're able to manifest from a more powerful place because you're in alignment with the Most High and you're in alignment with your truest nature, your truest self. Um, so congratulations, that's really really good. There is an attachment here to an air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, um, Libra, because they judged you really harshly. And it's like they took your light. Not that anyone could really take your light, but they in a way they did when you were younger. They're kind of a snake energy here. That serpent energy is really significant. This person played a really pivotal role in your karma, in your upbringing. And this needed to close out. This needed to end, or it's in the process of ending right now because this person, this attachment to this air sign, had caused a lot of confusion and a lot of difficulty detaching from unhealthy scenarios and unhealthy people. Whenever you had this person, like whenever you had like an achievement or an award or an accomplishment of some kind, this person had a way of taking that light and absorbing it for themselves and made it about them. And again, it was to kind of feed their ego. But that type of energy siphoning is not sustainable. And there was some sort of cutoff, or someone's in a process of cutting this person off where they can't do that anymore, right? Their sort of energy or their fuel, their battery or whatever is like starting to tune off. And I think this person might be having some health issues because of it, but also because I feel like this person also has like genetics, um, like it's some sort of genetic disease or disorder. But it's also very much spiritual too, right? And there's definitely a lot of karmic lessons with this person. You have healed and overcome this. It's just those final detachments, those final moments of letting go. And it doesn't mean like if this is a family member or a close friend or a figure of some kind, of father figure of some kind, it doesn't mean that you can't love them. You can still love them, but from a distance, and still thank them for, who they were in your life and what they taught you, and to let them go with love. But you don't need, the Most High doesn't want you to be holding on or to be attached to people that don't respect your light and don't respect you and your energy and your love. They have to do that same work in order to achieve that same level of consciousness, um, and evolve, right? And everyone gets an opportunity to do that. It's just sometimes people choose their ego, they choose their own will in the situation, and to continue behaving in a certain way, regardless if it's hurting other people or whatever, because they're getting a need met. But I feel like you leaving the situation is a wake up call for them, and they need that. They need that. So you're going to have like there's like a global shift with this as well, but you're going to have an awakening, there's something about a global awakening around this same kind of energy. You're going to begin to notice that you're seeing the same kind of story in the news, or like your experiences in the news. And there's reverberations of it from your environment in different capacities, whether it's in like movies and like TV shows and like the news and that kind of thing. Other people might be sharing similar stories and experiences, but you're going to begin to witness a lot of these things. And that's telling you you're on the right path and there's like a positive outcome with this. It doesn't like on the path that you're on, it doesn't mean that you're attracting the same kind of thing, but it's the God, the world, the God is trying to show you through the world a reflection of what you've just gone through, so you can gain a better understanding, and to kind of help to really put a closure, to get closure, to put closure into place, and to help with the integration. But also, there's something really key, like a keen sense here of your purpose. You are now walking into a new stage. You're walking into a new arena to help other people with their purpose as a healer. But I feel like it's also more than healing. It has a lot to do with like your brightness, the brightness that you bring into a room, the energy, the frequency that you're bringing into a room, that healed version of yourself, your most authentic version of yourself. When you come into a room, into a space, you shift the energy. And that's the most high working through you. That's Jesus working through you. But that's also a part of your soul star, a part of your healing aura and your healing energy. And I think you're going to gain more insight as to what that means the more that you spend some time alone. You don't need to go into full on hermit mode, but I feel like for some of you, you might have a little bit of a craving to be alone and to kind of just sit in your own energy and to cleanse and that kind of thing and get to know yourself. Working on your chakras and that kind of thing and doing some meditation is always really, really good and healthy. That could be really significant for some of you guys too. So congratulations, that's really beautiful. And like you're going to be able to show people how to break free from the toxicity and how to overcome what you have. The lessons that you've learned about your relationships, you're going to be able to share in like a global on a global stage. It's important that you don't hold back. It's important that you don't hold back on your stories as much as a part of you may want to, because there could be a little bit of doubt, a little bit of shame associated with it. But you need to think about what is the benefit? What is the, when we're being of service to people and to the world, in whatever capacity, it's not, the beautiful thing about being of service is that it's not about us, right? When I do the readings and I'm called to do and share my gifts in this way, it's not about me. I don't do this for me. This is for you guys, and when you completely empty yourself and from the ego, you can then be used as a true, like as a full vessel for the most high, a pure vessel for the most high. And I feel like you're going to be learning a lot about this in the next cycle. And I feel like you're going to have a lot of people around you who's going to help to bring truth and clarity with the Ace of Swords. Um, I do see like you do have a desire for a fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius here as well. Um, and maybe this person can be very prominent in helping for you to understand some of these other missing pieces to the puzzle. The same way that you might be helping them as well to begin to understand more and more about themselves. And again, coming back to the beginning, thank you, Spirit. This is how I know we're almost done. It's like, um, now that you're healed, or you've healed from that wound, that seed, black seed, that wound, it's healed, right? We're healing, right? Versions of it may come up again in the future, but at least now you know what you're working with, and it's not going to be like, it's the core. The majority of it is fully healed. There might be some residual stuff you may have to work on, but I don't really sense that. I feel like you're going to find some really beautiful closure with this. But now that you've healed that and you've let it go, and the version of yourself that was attached to a very specific person, you've let it go. And now you're blooming into this new version of yourself, or bloomed into this new version of yourself, this higher octave, this higher frequency, this higher consciousness, and a higher and deeper sense of awareness within yourself and with other people too, which comes with a lot of beauty, but you also see a lot of things, and things that you can't unsee, right? You can't unsee certain things. So there's also that factor that many people don't always talk about, in the healing spiritual community, that once you see things, you can't unsee them, right? But that's the cost of having these gifts and the cost of evolving. But wouldn't you rather know than not know, right? So anyway, so, trust, trust and believe, Priscilla. Okay, so now that you are in this new space and your heart is now like more open, you're in a more healed and a more grounded, a more like in your truest nature, your truest form, right? at this level. And the beautiful thing is that we can go through this transformation as many times as we need to. And although like your manifestation or your desire for a certain type of relationship experience and like a marriage, perhaps love, a relationship, now with this newfound wisdom, insight, and version of yourself, this more healed version of yourself, you are now manifesting from a higher level of understanding, right? You have your wand, you have your cup, you have your sword, and pentacle. There's a pentacle, pentacle. So you have all four elements here. You're working with everything, nothing's missing. And so, with this more pure version of yourself, you're now attracting healthier relationships of people on the same frequency, people on the same understanding, mental understanding, emotional understanding, truth understanding, physical understanding, and someone that you can grow old with, right? Because we see in the Two of Cups and the Ace of Cups at the bottom of the deck in the beginning. So there's definitely a lot of truth coming into the picture here. I do want to clarify what this devil is. Okay, so we did touch on a lot tonight. Hold on. There could be a Capricorn coming back into your atmosphere. For some of you, for others of you, I feel like this is something, this is like that addiction that we were talking about. It could be like having to look at your addiction, if there's an addiction to porn or masturbation or drugs or alcohol or smoking, right? I think I've disclosed to you guys before that, yeah, I am a smoker. Not not proud of it, but like it is what it is. But it's like it it's beginning to understand what is this serving you. And I feel like for some of you guys, you're putting or you have put an end to multiple things. It could be the way that you're spending money, the way that you're investing your time, could be with family members that you've had to learn from their experiences as well. If they've struggled with drugs and alcohol or other addictive personalities or anything like that. But that whole nature of that's like sexual, hypersexual, and that kind of thing, that may need to be taken a look at, and learning what does that mean, right? What is this teaching me about myself? And for some of us, we need to be able to connect in with a trained therapist, to be able to go into those depths in a safe way, to understand and to discover and unclothe, right? That's not the right speaking of sex, right? Unclothe it, you know what I mean? Sort of like unveil it, right? In a very gentle way. But I think for some of you guys, you have overcome this. Um, yeah, yeah, the world card here, justice and the two of pentacles. Like you're on the verge of something, Taurus energy here too. You're on the verge of something really, really close. It's something about Demeter again, with the Greek mythology. It's so cool. Um, I kind of want to watch the Sandman now, but there's so many good stuff out there around Greek mythology. Um, Maybe I should just read a book about it. But yes, so I feel like you are understanding conceptually, about time and investment and that kind of thing, but also the mental capacity as to how addiction is formed, how unhealthy behaviors are formed, why they're formed, why people, smoke, why people drink, why people do this, do that. There's a deeper understanding and a deeper compassion that you now have for other people because you've applied that compassion to self. And that is unlocking a lot of opportunities for growth and business. I feel like there's opportunities to be of service in many, many capacities now because you have unlocked the truth, your truth, a truth about, the source of the matter. Um, and for some of you guys, it's about, this is a Capricorn person coming back into your energy. It's about setting boundaries with this person. I feel like there's been some sort of ending, or it could have been multiple endings with this person, and they just don't seem to get it. So you are going to have to set some boundaries with this person. And I feel like even that experience is going to show you something about them. But again, it's going to show you more so, not just about them, but like, it's like you're able to see things now empathetically. Not that you haven't before, but you're able to see things from their perspective, your perspective, but like you're seeing the dynamics, is what I'm saying, without getting too in the nitty gritty about it. But like you're seeing how setting boundaries is a healthy thing, especially if this person was overstepping in any sort of way or had been in the past. And you're seeing, what that sort of cause and effect does to that other person. But also, you're seeing how you are honoring yourself by holding these boundaries, setting these boundaries, and holding these boundaries, and why they're important to keep yourself emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually safe. And it's through this discovery and insight and understanding, you are then able to make plans and decisions based on this newfound, her glory, but like this compassion again. Yeah, with this person, the Two of Cups, Ace of Cups. Yeah, could be a water sign, doesn't have to be. They could have water in the chart. Yeah, I feel like you guys are going to have a really, 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 really good time, but a really, really good talk about this whole thing. Really good talk. You're going to have a really deep and profound understanding of each other in such a deep, meaningful way. Yeah. Okay. So to clarify your environment and receiving this insight, which is godly ordained and designed, I mean, your whole journey has been very meticulously designed and outlined by the Most High for you, and your angels are making sure that you stay on track and on path, excuse me, on par with your healing journey and your evolution. But there's someone in your environment, it could be a Scorpio, Cancer, or a Pisces, um, who's going to provide some clarity and understanding about some sort of ending or betrayal. It could be with work and family for some, but it's going to help to put again that closure that you were seeking. But for some of you, yeah. Okay, so in your environment, for some of you, you have a water sign or someone who could be very emotionally manipulative. they're kind of freaking out. Um, and they're coming to you with some sort of clarity. They've had some sort of clarity or understanding that they want to kind of change the narrative or change some sort of outcome that I think they put themselves in. Um, they want to bring like either a love offer or like an apology, but I don't think that they're very honest about it. Again, with the emotional manipulation, like water signs, God bless them, right? Like, again, emotional manipulation is a defense mechanism, and it's also something that people do in order to get a need met. But that's mostly, when we're children, when we're younger, is when we often do those types of things because we don't know better. But as grown adults, we should have come to some sort of idea or had an opportunity to evolve out of those unhealthy behaviors. Um, but sometimes people have a choice, like most of us are given opportunities all throughout our life to change. If we notice that our behavior is hurting someone, we get to choose, like, do I still want to continue behaving this way, or am I going to do the hard work and change? And I feel like this person is saying that they want to change or they have changed in some sort of capacity, but they're really on the fence about it. And I don't feel like it's genuine. I feel like there's still emotional manipulation attached to this person, because they want a specific outcome. Again, that's a very coming back to the MO, right? What is the why behind things? Why do people choose to behave in ways that they do? If it's an unconscious behavior, that's one thing, but that's like, again, if it's unconscious and then we play it out and then we're all of a sudden we're conscious about it, especially if we tell them like, look, your behavior hurt me or whatever, um, and you let them know, then now they know. Now they can make the choice on whether or not they want to change. If they choose to stay the same, then obviously they don't care about you. They just care about themselves and getting what they want. And they haven't changed. So I feel like this person is saying like they changed, but they have not changed. I don't think that they really want to change. They don't want to do the work. Again, it's to change a specific outcome. They might use something about their mother as sort of like a, I don't want to say excuse, but it could be an excuse for some that they're using their mother as an excuse to keep indulging in unhealthy toxic behavior. And I say that because, again, we have a choice. Um, and people who use former pain and traumas as a way to justify their behavior, especially if it's harmful and unhealthy, and toxic even, then people are more prone to be susceptible to victim mentality. And if they are operating from victim mentality, they're stuck in that sort of bubble. And whoever goes in that bubble gets hurt essentially, because the person refuses to change. So God bless them, pray for them. You're gonna get insight on how to move through this, one from this reading, but also like direct, and also to apply the wisdom that you've learned at this time. Like it's all going to make sense. Ooh, I see you moving towards, or this other person. This other person here is like either they're moving towards you or you're moving towards them. This Ace of Cups, Two of Cups, and I think this is spirit saying like, okay, wrap it up now. Like we've touched on a lot. Yeah, we've touched on a lot. Okay. So we go on and on and on and on like the Energizer Bunny, but no, I can't. I have to go to bed. Today was like a weird but good day. I was able to get a lot of rest. This past week has been really intense. So just trust and know that you are being guided. Okay. Celebrate yourself, honor yourself. And one way through honoring yourself is setting the boundaries, right? When it's appropriate and using your assertiveness and assertive skills, and knowing yourself and being honest, right? I think the biggest misconception around boundaries is that boundaries create are meant, it's like boundaries for some people who aren't accustomed to boundaries or have not learned of what boundaries are and why they're so important for healthy relationships, is that boundaries can be seen as like moats, right? To keep people out, like big walls. That's not what boundaries are. Boundaries are like bridges over the moat, right? In between relationships. And it's setting the standards, setting the bar of expectation of how we're going to interact with each other and what am I willing to tolerate and what am I willing not to tolerate when it comes to interacting in whatever relationship that you're talking about. And of course, we set these boundaries with ourselves too, right? Ooh, okay. So standing in your power. Yep, I see you. I see you. I see you. I see you. I see you standing in your power. We have an Aries, Leo, Sagittarius woman here as well. So this is your advice. Breaking free with this person. It's like honoring yourself is helping you to see things clearly and again attracting that type of relationship that you want. The Queen of Wands is someone who is spiritually inept, intelligent, charming, attractive, and has a fire within them, um, that can be very magnetic. And in taking this leap of faith with this person, I feel like it's going to require a lot of wisdom that you have cultivated throughout your life, but also the wisdom of your own soul, which is being led by the Holy Spirit and the Most High, right? Again, we're not just operating from our own strength, right? We're leaning on the Most High. And I see you also picking and choosing your battles um wisely. If there's been any sort of doubt around finances and like jealousy, manipulation, and stuff like that, I feel like you're going to receive some clarity on how to handle the situation. Yeah. Aw. Okay. 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 So, okay. This is so cute, but like, let's get into it here. I have a few more minutes together. So, the stout, 8 of Swords. Just take a look at her and see what comes up for you in your intuition. Like, what is this telling you? What's coming up for you? What are you noticing? Is she standing in puddles? She's surrounded by swords, right? Could be unhelpful thinking, thoughts. She's trapped in her thoughts about things. She's not able to see things clearly. She feels bound, maybe, insecurities, because the red speaks a lot to like the root chakra. And it was clarified by the Two of Cups. So I feel like there's some doubt and some insecurity around this relationship here with the Two of Cups. You know, something about family and kids, but again, I feel like there's a lot of okay, two things. One, the Most High is not confusing. The Most High, if this is aligned by the Most High, which I feel like it is. That's been pretty consistent throughout many of your readings. It will not be confusing. It will bring you peace. It will bring you peace. Your spirit will feel peace, right? If there's introduction of other energies into the situation, meaning if you share about this Two of Cups with other people, now you are introducing new energies into the experience. If you, not saying that this has to be kept a secret, but I feel like for some of you, this is a manifestation trying to come in, or it's in the process of coming in. And it's not that you can't tell anyone, it's just to be mindful about who it is that you're sharing these blessings with, because not everyone has good intention. And I don't know, it could be an Aries, it could be a father figure, maybe, I don't know, whoever this person is, could be energetically judging potentially the experience and you, which could be causing confusion. Because energetically and psychically, right, you are sensing and picking up other people's energy about the experience. So when your manifestations are very new and budding and coming in, it's very important that you keep and you protect your blessings in this relationship until it's fully formed, to the best of your ability. Like, use your discernment, right? Ask the Most High to help you with the discernment. Because you're going to notice more clarity that comes with that. But also, the other part here is that the insecurities and the doubts, like, it's cute because, again, we all have them. Like, guys, I think I've told you before around, like, like my journey, and my healing journey and that kind of thing. Like, I stopped working out, right? Like a few years ago because, well, one, I was dealing with a crap load of trauma and healing, and I was in survival mode and I had zero desire. I had no desire, no energy, no focus because I was surviving. I was so focused on surviving that taking care of my health and my body was not a priority besides sleep and maybe stretching it once in a while. There was a lot going on, and there's a lot to share about that we're not going to get into tonight, but like, just to give you an insight and understanding. And so, and throughout my life I've had to heal, especially within the last 4 to 5 years. I had to heal a lot with my body and my body image and how I looked, right? Again, coming back to that, society's norms, you have to look a certain way in order to be deemed, beautiful or marriage material or whatever. And I had like I wasn't formally diagnosed with body dysmorphia, but there is definitely some elements to body dysmorphia that I really related to. And I had a very skewed version of seeing myself, right? And so I had to do a lot of work, a lot of inner child healing, a lot of healing work, to learn to love myself and my body as it is. 111 on the clock. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Spirit. And even though, I had gained weight again, because I've gained weight, lost weight, gained weight, lost weight, right? But I've also like trained, and I've also, like, when I lost a lot of weight, I got it introduced to macros, which I'm like totally into, right? But the desire to take care of myself physically, aside from eating and sleeping, was not really a priority for me because I was surviving. And so a lot of the things that I love to do were gone because I was so knee deep in the trauma that I was having to deal with. I had to stabilize myself. I had to stabilize my son. There was a lot of grief with the family that I was also going through. I was learning to manage with a new diagnosis of ADHD. So there was a lot of stuff going on, right? And this was like 2021, 2, 3, right? And 2024 was when I was really like good, right? Like I felt like I was coming out on the other side. I was on the other side of it, managed, coming out, but I was still very much in survival. Didn't have the capacity, financially or the time, to really focus, or the energy of the desire to focus on my health again, right? And so there are days where I do feel really like I feel very comfortable in my skin. It's taken me a long time to love my body of where I'm at today, and all the choices that I made in the past. Although in some days I wish I could have changed it, but I can't. And I did what I had to do to survive because I was going through an immense amount of trauma, healing, and growth, and I did what I had to do. I don't hate myself for it. But now today, as I'm in this newer version, new chapter of my life, it's like now I have that desire, to bring exercise back into my life, and I'm being mindful of eating, I'm walking more and stretching and that kind of thing. And, sleep is really important with that too. And although like my routine and my life is not perfect, we're slowly making those little changes every day to get to that point where I'm going to be going to the gym, and I'm sticking to a gym routine, and I'm sticking to a healthy diet, and um that kind of thing, and deal with smoking soon ish right, in its own time. But like that's just like an example of like how these sort of like doubts and insecurities kind of could come in, because yeah, again, like when you do meet someone new or you enter into a new relationship, there's always going to be some insecurities, right? And it's something that we get to work together through and with. And I feel like it's not about being perfect, it's about being yourself, and putting your best foot forward with this person. And I feel like the second piece of this is speaking to that, but it's also like your both of your inner childs are going to really resonate with each other, which is going to be very healing in itself. And I see a lot of stability and success with this relationship, and I see it going pretty far here with the Four of Wands. Um, like I think you might be building up something in your mind a lot, um, and you won't really know until you're like either in communication with this person, or you take that leap of faith, right? Reach out to this person, you begin that process, and if your insecurities come up, be honest and talk about it, like name it to tame it, as they say. um and again, like there's some days where I don't feel super great, but the majority of my days now I feel pretty good in my skin, and I feel beautiful, and I feel, like I don't need to be a size, I don't know, 6 or whatever. I was like, what size was like back then? Yeah, like I don't need to be like a size 6. I don't need to be, a medium or a small or anything like that in order to feel beautiful, like to feel beautiful or to feel worthy. Um, because I think I've shared this before, that like even if you look back into my older videos, that was me when I was on macros and working, like doing high intensity interval training and stuff like that, right? Like I was in shape, but and I was skinny and I looked nice. I looked good, but when I look back and I see those videos, I feel like I was too skinny, right? But like I needed to go through that. And so today I don't necessarily have a desire to be that thin again, but like I want to be stronger, and I want to be more flexible again, and I want to be like, I want to feel good in my body and feel strong in my body. And to be able to dance again and to have fun, and to do all these things. And so like my version of beauty, my standard of beauty has definitely changed, and I don't equate my worth to my looks. I believe that having a healthy body is good for longevity, and it's really good for your mental health and spirituality and that kind of thing. But like I feel like in a way, at least for me, I'm starting over. I'm starting over on that health and wellness journey for the physicality piece of it, right? And I have been. I'm in the process of. It's not something that's a tomorrow thing. It's something I'm already in. I'm in the initial phases of it all, and it's just building momentum with that, right? Little by little, and having patience, and but you know again, because like my attraction to other people is not just about the physicality. It has to be about the mental. It has to be about the emotional. It has to be about the spiritual. It has to be about these really important elements. Otherwise, I don't feel attracted to somebody. The physicality piece of the person, I know for me is not the end all be all. And I'm not attracted to just like attractive people. Like I'll notice that they're attractive, but I don't feel an attraction to them, right? Does that make sense? It needs to be the whole thing for me to feel that attraction to somebody. So, anyway, our standards change as we evolve and as we grow, is essentially what I'm saying. So, I think you guys will have fun talking about it, getting to know each other. Okay. So, Sagittarius, there's a Sagittarius here in your advice. Patience is going to be really important for you with this during this time. I see you being very successful in overcoming this. Be very patient with yourself in this process of change. I feel like there's either a Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo, a Pisces, maybe a Leo, Gemini here as well. But do you like my face that I made there? Okay, so tired. Okay. Um, I see you're going to be having some sort of clarity. I feel like you're going to be setting some boundaries with someone, or you're going to be speaking your truth, like your emotional truth. You're being honest with someone, and I feel like it may hurt their feelings. Um, but you need to be strong. You need to be patient with yourself because there's something here about they left you. It's like they left you for dead or something, like this person left you. Um, they could have blamed it on work, they could have blamed it on whatever, you know, but I think they just wanted to, yeah. What did they want to do? They're trying to create some sort of confusion emotionally with you. Or they were emotionally confused. Why were they emotionally confused? Because they couldn't make a decision between you and another person. Um, yeah, I feel like you're also going to be getting some insight from other people, like your intuition directly, but also maybe other readers. Be mindful, use your discernment always. I feel like you know that already, but um, sometimes it could be a nice reminder. Orange is going to be significant. This person could be wearing an orange dress or like an orange hat or something, orange purse, something like that's going to be really significant. Um, I feel like you're going to be able to tell them what they put you through. Feel like this person wants to reconcile with you, but I don't see you being open to this. You've healed. And this is, again, showing you it's like the world, like, again, because you've healed and you're attracting higher versions and experiences to you, you're also attracting other people and other experiences. But that's when you set your boundaries and that kind of thing, and you tell the universe, you tell God, like, I don't want this person in my life. Why are they here, right? And they could be here to show you just how far you've come, and I feel like that's what it is. but also to give you an opportunity to have some sense of closure. And like, if this person's trying to force themselves into your life for their closure, that's not cool. And I feel like you might be telling them that as well, but you're going to feel much better by telling them the truth about how they hurt you, why they hurt you. You're not interested. It's time to move on. But be patient with yourself in this experience. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're walking away from it because you're choosing better for yourself. So, congratulations. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, this was fun, guys. This was a very long reading, and yeah, don't mind me with the with the long readings and the little pause there in between. Um, it's always such an honor to be able to read for you guys. And again, I'm so proud of you. 1, 2, 3 on the clock. I'm so proud of you. Immensely. Like, just, it's been such a beautiful journey in the last few months. Um, like I feel like it's been a few months. And what I love about my job so much is that one, to be of service in this capacity is beyond my wildest dreams. I never ever thought in a million years this is what I would be doing. But to be able to connect with other souls at this level, other people at this level, it brings so much joy and connection in my own life. But again, it's not about me, but I just want to share that, like, how much I appreciate you for being here and for checking out the channel. And, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, as they say. And there's, more information in the description box if you want to see some of my other work and that kind of thing. But I love what I do, and I couldn't do what I'm doing without you guys. So I appreciate you so much, and I hope you have a really good week. If you need any assistance, you know where to find me. Okay. Appreciate you. Mwah. Have a good week. We'll see you next weekend.